Hello, hello, hello. I'm a full-on mess this morning. Mhm. I still have not been able to find my pin, so I can't do fabric today. That's annoying. The live camera's all crazy. Okay. Good morning, Kate. Welcome in. Guess I'm just doing some stitching today. I can't find the pins, and when I look around at other things that need to be done, like I just get overwhelmed. So I don't know where to start. And it's actually kind of warm in here. Is my AC on? Yes. Good morning, John. How are you? Man, I had a package I was going to bring in here and I forgot. One thing at a time, just like stitches. Yeah. Yeah, it's just knowing like where to start. At least with my stitching, I usually start in the top right-hand corner. So I know. Oh, see mine didn't go flying. Right. So we'll put that to the side for now. I am working on Phantom this morning because it's my daily 100 this week, or one of the two. Both of my daily 100s this week involve Pattern Keeper. Good morning, Laurel. Yeah, plenty of that around here. Specialty fibers. I was running a little bit behind this morning because computer was having some issues waking up. And of course, I waited till the last minute to even try. Duh. Why are you awake, Laurel? Yes, it's very, very early. We're going to go up and work in up here. So if you see, if, um, this is the bottom of the project, and this last page is 70 stitches, only 7 rows. So I ended up doing 3 rows on the next one just to make my daily 100 yesterday. Good morning, Deborah. And so now we're going to come back up here and work our way down. But when we get down here again, we'll have 4 rows to finish that one, and then we'll do 6 of the next. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to mess with me. Something happened and got my threads all twisted. There we go. So I'm gonna pin these over here out of the way. this up a little bit. Okay, and we're ready to go. Good morning. Let's do some stitching. I didn't bring a needle. Wait, where'd I put my other project? Oh, there. There we go. This is gonna get on my nerves. This is mostly a black block, so we're just gonna have a little bit of accent, but mostly all one color. So it should go pretty quickly. Trying to get YouTube to sync with Roku. What do you mean sync with it? Like it's just not updating? We are almost to 63% on this project. Almost had it. Yesterday was the first day of November. So, of course, all those goals get to start all over, right? We've got new Whippagories, got all our focus pieces, Whip Go, Stitch Along. I set way too many goals for myself, but I've been really good this year at accomplishing them. So I'm going to keep it up. Can we talk about needle sizes? Sure. I'm not really fluent in them, but basically it's kind of the different needle sizes or the different widths of the needle. Some people choose their needle size. Oh, the chat isn't sure. Oh, hey, that's a my bad. Let me get that working. Why is my extension not working? Because it's not turned on. Okay. It should start being on chat now, or chat should go on screen now. Um, like it won't backtrack, but it should show all the new chat. Um, okay, so a lot of people choose their needle sizes based on like the count of fabric they're using. I don't. I stick with either 26 or 28, with 28 being the thinnest. And just because I don't I don't use it to manipulate my fabric like some people. Some people use a little bit bigger needle to help widen the hole for cry neck or stuff like that. I don't really, that's not my jam. I tend to stick with this one right here is more than likely a 28 because it's super thin. And this one is a petite, which they're not currently making right now, but it's supposed to come back in production at some point this year. So this is a John James 28 petite. Um, let's see. Not sure if I have any others here with me. But it works really good for, like, this is a 28 count even weave. So it works. Oops, that's not where that was supposed to go. Did you have any questions in particular, John, about needle sizes? Renee Petite is the best. Everything else feels huge. I agree. I do. I have gotten used to 28 regulars, um, but I do prefer the petites just because I feel like you get a lot more floss usage. When I run close to the end of floss and I'm trying to turn a full size needle, it's very, hi Haley, welcome in. Hello from the UK. Been there once. So. But I could see if you're working on like an 18 count Ada where a 28 needle would be very small, um, and you risk it falling back out of the hole. Um, so that would be one case where I might consider a 26. You could even go up to a 24, but that feels a little extra. Kate, do you know what size needle you use? Starting to grid my first 18 count Ada, and the sizing tool recommended a 28. The head seems so small. So far, I only have used 24 on 14 count. Haley says, I like a 24 needle. Everyone is talking about whipping down at the moment. May I ask, Sammy? I think your question got cut off there. You can ask me anything. Oh, what do you think about whipping down? Are you happy with your current whip count? I'm currently trying to whip down, but not because I'm overwhelmed or that I think there's a such thing as too many projects. My thought process is that if I have 30 whips, there are 30 typically there are 30 days in a month. So if I'm down to 30 whips, I can essentially work on one whip each day and have touched all my projects every month. Is that going to actually happen? Probably not. But that's my goal. That's my thought process in maintaining a 30 goal. I think I'm at 40 right now. So I should be there by the beginning of the year. Um, but I'm very happy with where I'm at now if I didn't whip down. Kate uses 24 on a 16 count and 26 for 18 and 20. Yeah, I remember Megan saying once she felt like she was throwing the needle through the hole. That's how I feel on perforated paper. So I've gotten to where I do use whatever they provide instead of whatever's in my, um, you know, instead of my needles. That's a good idea. The 30 whips in a month. I mean, I did it in January this year. I was able to touch all my I had 33 at the beginning of the year, I think, and I was able to work on all of them in the month. And then since then I've added on but I'm hoping after finish that Stitch December, I will be close to 30. I've also considered, in an effort to hit my number and still give myself a little room to start things, um, having, if I have more than one project by a designer, only having one of the projects active and the other passive, and they switch out either based on finish or goal achievement. Because like I have 4 Mirabilias right now, and they're all big. They're all going to take some time. And if I was only focusing on, let's say, 2 of them or 1 of them, it's more likely to get finished, and then the other ones could rotate in. So there's some other food for thought. What is your whip count right now, Haley, if you don't mind sharing? And what do you think about it? I know plenty that have a lot. A lot. And I think it's really all about what works best for you and what some people get overwhelmed by the fact that they have all these projects and am I ever going to finish anything? One, yes, you're going to. It's going to happen. It may take a little while, but it will happen. But also, if it's overwhelming you, then that's not what stitching is supposed to do. How do I keep track of all the games and challenges I participate in? Some of it I put into my notions, and some of it is just a matter of I have the event or whatever saved on Facebook, and so I'll go to my save section and just kind of look down the list. I do not have a good way of organizing that, and I do get defeated sometimes. There are times where I forget to post for one group or something. So I'm not a good example to follow in that regard. But like my focus pieces, my whippagories, all of that is in my Notions app. I have like a checklist that I start at the beginning of each month. Planning on only having 25 active whips for 25. Nice. I did, yes. Laurel says you did that a few years ago. I did. I want to say it was about 3 years ago. I'm not paying attention here. I did. I had doubles of almost every single designer, so I would only have one active, and at the time the others were on the bench. So let's say I gave myself a yearly goal of 1,000 stitches on each project, and I have two Heaven and Earth designs. So I would only work on this one till it got to 1,000 stitches, and then it would go on the bench, and whatever was on the bench would come in till it hit 1,000 stitches, and then I continued to rotate that way. It was a way to better guarantee that I was hitting the goals I was trying to accomplish. But I also had 70 something whips at that time, whereas I'll only have, I really think I'm at 40. So, where's my other tablet? Sorry I was late this morning, Laurel. Had technical difficulties. So if I come into my Notions, here on my main page, I keep, under this quick action section, I keep a checklist. So it's going to be a big checklist right now because, it's the first of the month. So I have my 5 Wibigories or categories. That's why it says C1, C2, C3. My focus pieces are here, these 5. And it says next to them what their goal is. Fairy Tale Lands 2 needs 1 motif. World Postage Stamp is 500 stitches, all that. My stitch along, the piece I've split into 12 to get done by the end of the year is right here. And actually, I finished it last night, so I just check it off. My 2 whip goes are there, and then all of this is from the 2 games that I'm playing, Big Brother and uh, Great British Baking Show. Just each week, like I watched last night, and here's all of week 6, and I'll check them off as I complete them. And as you can see, I'm really behind, but I just check them off as I go, one thing at a time. So on my wheel, I'll have everything up until here, and then I'll have Lilith, and I'll have Lilith for Big Brother, and Aristocats for Great British. And then I'll spin and decide what I'm stitching in that day. I've not spun today, so at some point I'll probably have to like run and go find a whip. But we got 2 focus pieces first. My daily 100 on my full coverage. This is Mini Phantom of the Masquerade from Melissa Dawn, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And then my other one is QS Ladybugs, also a Heaven and Earth design. Artist is Ching Chao Quick. I think that's how it's pronounced. I feel rude mispronouncing things. What do you use as a wheel? On my phone, I have Decision Roulette app, or one I found that I really like better actually, a website called wheelofnames.com, because you can like copy your whip list and paste it in there, and it makes each of the, instead of having to make each individual little slide, it'll make it for you. Each line is a new slide. And then and you can save it. So then you can, like, I can make it on the computer and open it up on a website on my phone. I can use it here on screen. I don't think I have it set up just yet, but oh, I should. Things like that. I told someone to go watch you because you're stitching Mini Phantom. Oh, yeah, Mini Phantom of the Masquerade. I love this one. She's so pretty. Look at the detail in the rows. Just stunning. And you can only see so far up, but like these butterfly wings. And let me tell you, it comes across even better on camera. She's getting ready to start the color max. Melissa Dawn had a few other cats that I wouldn't have minded. One was white. Oh my goodness, could you imagine the amount of white you'd have to stitch for that cat? I considered trying to do all of them, but once I realized my full coverage bug is not like some other people's full coverage bug, like, yeah, I got better things to do. I do like to try and keep a nice variety between full coverage, smalls, mediums. I'm not real good at having smalls going, but I'm getting better. I've completed quite a few this year. She's getting ready. Oh, okay. I'm gonna try and do a full coverage focus next year and try and get Alice finished. And Alice is only at like 52%. This one would definitely be a lot easier to get finished, but I really enjoy stitching on this one, so I'm not in a hurry to finish it. And also, this one's for me, whereas Alice, I'm stitching it for my sister. So I'd rather get it finished and sent to her, and then we can just continue to work on Phantom a little bit at a time. Also, I do have 4 or 5 full coverages inactive right now, and I would like to pull 1 or 2 of them. I would like to reduce my whips just because I would like to like some finishes next year to make room for new starts. I understand. I think denying yourself new starts only makes you want them more. And that's why I want to make a little room in mine too. I want to still stay under 30 while being able to have a couple new ones. How long have I been stitching? Um, that's kind of a loaded question. No. Actively, like what I am now, since 2014. I found counted cross stitch in 2014, 2013. No, 2014. I learned to stitch stamped cross stitch, like the baby blankets, the baby. In fact, my aunt taught me on a baby bib for my cousin when I was 6. Um, and then I did a lot of baby quilts, things like quilt blocks that had the pattern stamped on them, things like that, up until 2014. In 2014, I went to Hobby Lobby to buy threads for a stamped quilt block that I was working on, and I saw the counted cross stitch. Now, I had seen it several times before and always thought, I can't count for shit. Like, there's no way I couldn't do that. And so I bought a bookmark because I'm like, okay, it's seriously like 30 stitches wide. I can count to 30, I think. So I picked it up and I did it and I fell in love with it. Um, thank you. Have you started thinking about your 2025 stitching plans? Yeah. Yeah, I'll get to that. Give me 1 second. So I did the bookmark. I gave it to my mother-in-law. But what I liked about it was seeing the picture come alive. Because when you do stamped cross stitch, you're just putting color on pattern that's already there. But when you're doing counted, you get to watch the entire pattern form. And so I went off the deep end, and my next project was a Haid. Thank you, Nina. Welcome in. If anybody's stitching, please let me know what you're stitching on. Okay, so 2025 plans. I honestly don't foresee them being much different than this year because this year worked so well for me. My 5 focus pieces have gotten so much work. In fact, one's finished, and I think 2 more should be finished in December. 2 to 3. Of course, I'm gonna do categories. I'm considering adding or changing out some of the categories. So if anybody has any suggestions, I am more than open to them. Your model stitching. Ooh. Um, are you model stitching for yourself or for somebody else? I don't know. I don't know that I mean, I've started thinking about what's going to be the piece I split into 12 to finish next year. Um, but other than that, I haven't made a whole lot of plans. Stitching on Otterly Adorable from Pain Free Crafts. Aw, I love otters. I was stitching on Rose Library, but I have to start to cook dinner. I know how that goes. My 5 focus pieces are going to be my 5 oldest projects. So, like they were this year. But they'll change obviously because I'm going to finish. Well, Fairy Tale Lands 2 will become Fairy Tale Lands 1 cuz I need to pull that one out of. I thought so, but I didn't want to assume. The new summer band sampler. Kate, do you hear Haley? She's working on it. Kate loves your samplers too, and she loves having all 4 seasons. So, summer is on its way. Um, oh, what was I talking about? God. Oh, so my 5 oldest pieces. So Fairy Tale 2 will become Fairy Tale Lands 1 because that one's been in hibernation. I only wanted to work on one of those at a time. Let's see. Alice. Mm, I haven't I haven't decided if I'm going to keep Alice or move this one into Alice's spot since Alice is going to get so much attention anyway. That might be the better option. Um, let's see. Spangled will still be there because Spangled needs lots of work. World Postage Stamp will be there. And Haunted Mansion became Growth Rings. Actually, it may all stay the same. Pretty much. Hoity-toity using your Spangled method, where you split it up like 20 stitches high by the whole page. Which hoity-toity. Is that a long dog? I want to see. Kate is the same way. Incomplete sets drive her crazy, and she started one where the designer never finished. Wow. Which one was that, Kate? Hoity, toity. Yes and yes. Okay. At some point, I'll get to the skull block on 9 is the trick in the tree. You got this, Laurel. It is really early, so I'm going to give you a pass, but stitching with us is so much more fun than stitching by yourself. Okay, I'm going to pull this picture up so everybody can see. I was amazed at how much faster the progress goes and how much more I enjoy it when I can split it up like I did. Okay, so here for everybody else, this is Hoity Toity from Log Dog Samplers. This is what Deborah's working on. And it is gorgeous. Look at those cardinals. It's so good. It's so good. Baby's crying, gotta go. Have fun, Haley. Seasonal castles from Dragon Dreams. Yeah. Might listen on my AirPods. That's what I do. I watch a bunch of Twitch like while I'm doing dishes or laundry. I never want to feel like I'm doing those things by myself. Is summer the last one we need, Kate? She's like, I'm stitching. Quit asking me questions. I know autumn and winter are out. Is spring? I don't remember. I love the little squirrels on autumn. So cute. That break ends in 44 seconds. I'm really so curious if once I finish Spangled for this year and set up next year's, if it'll put me close enough to a finish that maybe next December we can just push it out. But I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just kind of like it's rattling around in my brain. Can we do this? I'm stitching. Don't ask hard questions. That said, I think it's winter. I know winter was the first one we did, and then y'all did, and then we did autumn. I just couldn't remember if spring came out or not. Because winter was the only one that I've done so far. The dark side of the rose here. Lots of black. It's down to 1,090 black stitches. That's not too bad. You know if long dogs come in digital or only paper? I do believe she has a digital shop. Yeah, because I think that's how I bought them. I know that's how I bought Anzac. So yes, they're digital also. I mean the band samplers. I was still bitter about the castles. Spring is out, just need summer. Okay. So now you know it's coming, you can rest assured. And they're so big, they're really nice to have digital. I want to start crossword eventually. I think that's I mean, I have several long dogs that I want to do, but I do think that's the one I want the most outside of the ones that I'm working on. Do I have? I only have one spangled, I think. Be careful with pick. Oh, yes, yes. Be very aware if you are working with Pattern Keeper and Long Dog to double check the pattern after you've put it in. Because sometimes the shading, the way that Long Dog does shading, PK doesn't compute. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many thousands of stitches I had to pull out because all of a sudden my iguana started looking really weird with like 6 legs. Um, and I looked and it did not account for um a couple extra shaded rows or something like that. It was crazy. So just make sure you always double check both the sides and the bottom. Oh, if Lexi got me sick, y'all, I'm gonna have to hurt her. Poor girl. Last night was senior night, and several of her friends are seniors and they're graduating. And like almost every picture of her from the game last night, she's crying. It's funny. I love crossword and one across three down. Sorry, yep, we've had winter, autumn, spring, just summer. Nice. Oh, I knew you were busy, Haley. That's why I asked Kate. What do you do if it does not import correctly? That's a good question. With mine, I was able to re-import it and like it asked me how many shaded rows there was, and I had to tell it a different number than was accurate in order for it to work. Because I think there was shaded rows on both pages. So I had to bump it from 3 to 5 or something like that. Um, so it's something you have to play with some settings and keep importing it until it looks right. Everybody hydrate. Hydrate is very important. Okay. Scream, frog, and revert to paper. Eight. I was able to get mine to work, but I do know people who haven't. So, or certain patterns, I don't know what it is. So the rest of this block is black, and then this one corner stitch is a new color that I have to didn't have parked. And then we'll be switching projects. And well, a lot of my things that I do were things I like I'm not accountable for, right? I don't have to they're not part of groups or games or whatever. Daily 100 is one of those for me. I joined a group several years ago run by a beautiful friend named Cheryl, and it was called Daily 30. And the premise was that you stitched on something for 30 minutes every single day. Whether it be the same project, whether it be different projects, that didn't really matter. Um, she would usually pick a project and do it till she finished it. Um, but the idea is that you take 30 minutes to yourself every day and sit down and stitch. I participated, but I have a hard time if I'm at 90 stitches at the end of 30 minutes, I'm going to finish and get the 100 stitches. Or if I'm only at 50, um, I want to, luckily this Ninja Stitch will park in the next block. I want to, I want to get to 100. I like that nice round even number. A lot of my games call for at least 100. So if I'm just doing that 100 a day, then I at least could put it to a game somewhere, right? So I started calling it Daily 100, and that's what I've been doing. I have one project that I work on at work until it's finished, and then at home it alternates between two of my full coverages. Since we started playing the games based on TV shows, I do a Daily 100 for those too. But that was Jesse's idea, not mine. So, and I like changing projects often. I still like to see progress on them, so, but I don't mind working on a couple in a day. I usually don't stick with the same project for more than a couple days if I'm trying to focus on it. Like Spangled sometimes is quite a bit of stitching, so I'll work on it 2 or 3 days in a row. I'm usually very over it by the time I finish. And that's where everybody stitches differently. Everybody enjoys different things. So you try out a bunch of different methods until you find the one that works for you. Mine is changing 3 projects in a day. Jesse's is changing a project once every 3 days. It's just whatever works for you. I know Kate changes pretty regularly, but she also gets to put in a lot of stitches in one day. So it's whatever makes you feel accomplished. I do recommend having at least 2 whips because there are going to be times where you're going to be very frustrated with a whip and you don't want it to kill your stitchy bug altogether. My flosses. Floss card. I need 498. You agree about needing at least 2 whips. That's so when I first found a counted cross stitch, I never thought about having multiple projects, right? Like you start and you finish, period. And so I was working on it was a story keep Haid. It was one of the dragons with the paints and stuff. And I stitched on and off for a year. And I would stitch hardcore for like a month. Like every free moment I got, I was staying up till 1 in the morning just to stitch. Because my kids were little then. And after about a month or so of that, I'm like, I'm over looking at this thing. I'm tired. I don't want to. And so I would stop stitching for 3 or 4 months. And then I'm like, okay, this project is a gift. I need to get working on it. And I'd start, good morning, Enid. I would start gung ho on it again. And then there was an event in a Facebook group where you had to start 7 things in 7 days. And I was like, oh, I want to try that. I want to be one of the cool kids. And so I went and bought some little kits at Hobby Lobby and I started them one a day. And when I knew I could burn out on this one and then move to the next one, I have not stopped stitching since. Like, I may have 2 to 3 days in a month where I don't do any stitching at all. And even then, that's not very common. So it's what keeps me going. I know everybody's different. That's my story. All right, we got our daily 100 done on Mini Phantom of the Masquerade and all her gorgeousness. So this is column 1 of pages. There's like 3.5 pages. Column 1. We're fixing to finish column 2 when we finish this page, and a little partial page down here. See partial page. And then we have one more column um, of pages to get this one done. It is currently at 63.02%. So I have to step out of frame for just a second and grab the next project. Because I grabbed it, but then I set it down. Not having options makes my stitchy bug mutiny. Yep. I need to come up with a better method for the flosses back there. And when I come up with one, we'll probably work on it on stream. Just not sure, like, do I limit how many are on a ring? I don't know. Does anybody else have a certain way they store their fancy flosses? I do want them to hang up because part of the fun of my background is getting to see all the loveliness, but I also like them readily accessible when I'm kitting things up. Need that. I'm just getting this fabric out of the way real quick. Please don't mind my arm in the way. All right. This is QS Ladybugs. QS stands for Quick Stitch. It's an option on Hade's website. This was a gift. I can't remember who bought it for me at this point, but this middle section is all we have left. I I have 2 finishes and am starting to look at framing. Any tips? I don't think I will go down to the pro framer option unless it's something really important to me. Yeah, I've never professionally framed. Um, I've done a few finishes, but I'm definitely not like the spokesperson for it. Um, Personally, I don't like glass because I don't like reflections and stuff like that. So I will take a frame, I'll take the glass out, I'll finish one of these on like a foam board or like a poster board. You know, you just kind of wrap it around and tack it down or you can look up lacing method and then I put it in the frame and hang it up. Annie's Keepers. I've seen a lot about those. Um, but then I'd have to take them off their drops, right? I don't really want to do that because I need the names and stuff. Also it depends on what you're finishing because pillow finishes are nice. I'm trying to think of something I've done. I have some ornaments. Mostly I've popped things in frames. I don't do a whole lot of finishing. I tend to finish a project, fold it, put it in a bag, and stick it over there. Which actually, that's another thing we can do is go through more of those bags. We went through one the day I tried to finish the Biscornu. How did they do with dust? Uh, Not great. You have to dust them. Or take maybe like a lint roller across them. Uh, I And I don't always keep mine up 24/7, so that's another thing. I'm not a good one to ask, John. Just feel like I don't have any good answers for you. Okay, let's chart. So on this one, we are 87.35 done. I am tempted to try and finish this in December, but, well, yeah, because it's my daily 100 this week. Plus, I think I have something else I need it for. And we have less than 2,000 stitches on this. So this one's definitely getting finished this year. I will say I'm also the poster child for not a role model. I do all the things that they tell you not to do. Yeah. Well, maybe not all things, but I'm good about it. I leave all my stuff on Q-snaps in the bags because I don't want to have to put it on the Q-snap every single time I work on it. Um, I don't. Some people talk about like fluttering your edges or whatever it's called, where you stitch a little into the next block so that you don't get the lines. I don't do that. I sometimes leave my needles in the project in the fabric. What are some other stuff they tell you not to do that I always think about doing? Feathering, feathering. Thanks, Kate. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. I don't do feathering. My backs look horrendous. They're so bad, but I'm figuring you don't see them. Like you don't. And if you're looking that closely and you can maybe see a thread that goes from here all the way to over here, um, through the fabric, you're standing too close to my projects and will you please step away? Yep. I tend to fudge more than I frog. If I don't have to frog, I'm not gonna. I've been known to stitch over a stitch with the correct color instead of frogging the wrong color out. If you cross stitch as you go, you're less likely to get lines. Don't need, oh, cross each stitch. See, don't do that either. Don't need feathering. I leave stuff on the Q snaps too, way too fiddly to take them on and off. I know you're supposed to though, and leaving the needle in, I do that too. Oops. Um, I can even show you, well, not right now, but on Mystery Kitty, because the fabric's real soft and because I've been keeping good tension on it with the Q snaps and kind of manipulating the fabric anyway. When I took the Q snap off, there's like this line where it's pulled the fabric apart a little bit. It'll be fine. My own hair is getting in my mouth. There we go. Um, it's gonna be fine. You can fix it with your needle. You can kind of iron it out. It'll be fine. I tell Laurel all the time, you can carry that thread. She looks at me like I'm crazy. It's okay, Laurel. You can just carry that thread. And don't get me wrong, there are some people that are very anal about that sort of stuff, and their backs look so amazing. I would almost enjoy seeing their back more than their front. Um, that's just not the person that I am. I like quick, I like convenient, I like not having to flip my project over. Uh, it is very, very, very rare that I have to flip a project over. And it's because I tend to start my stitches from the front. I tend to end my stitches from the front. It just is what it is. I apparently stitch the wrong way. There are no cross stitch police, so it's not wrong. It's just different than, like, I'm in a round robin right now with 4 other people. Every single one of them stitches with their bottom leg is my top leg, if that makes sense. So they start from the bottom left and I start from the top left. Yeah. You did that once on a video. You did that on a video once. It was hysterical. See, Laurel, it's okay to carry your thread. Yep. Because I stand behind it. Like, y'all, this This is how this one's supposed to look like a sketch. I'm not going to be filling in these empty spaces. Once all the black is done, this project is finished. That's how it started. Um, and I will show you. Oh, oh, heck. How did I do that? Okay. Do you see the threads? This one's not too bad because it's one color, but I have threads all over the place. I have, like, there was probably a knot there that I just stitched right over. It's a little bit of a lump. There's some lumps and bumps, and sometimes I start with a knot, sometimes I don't. This one is full cross, two threads over one. Oops, I lost my, hold on. I lost my thread back there. Don't needle in the mouth. That is a don't I should not be doing. Um, this is two floss over one thread of fabric. Um, I knew a cross stitch police person, but I quit talking to them. Nobody needs that kind of negativity. Yes. I'm left-handed and start to left top. Always a clean hole going up, if that makes sense. I mean, it does make sense. It does make sense. It's just not how my brain works. I started stitching in my head. I started stitching like I write. So I'm right-handed and I start at the top. I bring the, like, if we're writing an L, top to bottom, left to right. That's how I write. And so that's how I stitch. Top. Yay for left-handers. Laurel's left-handed too. Um, so that's what made sense to me. And not that I can't stitch the other way, but my brain's going to default to this because it's how I started. It's how I learned. I taught myself, more or less. Um, so, and actually, the aunt who taught me was left-handed. And I don't know if we did our stitches the same way or not. Can't remember. I was 6, but, and she's passed away, so I couldn't ask her. Yes, top left of my cross is the same as yours, but everyone does it the other. Yeah, that's what I've run into. And that's okay. It's perfectly fine. The main thing is that all your stitches go the same way. Even if they don't, that's fine. But it will look cleaner. It will look more like what you're trying to see if they do all go the same way. Um, so like I said, I'm in a round robin with those 4 other people, and we've all just agreed that we stitch how we stitch, even though it's on each other's projects. So my section is going to look opposite of everybody else's section, but then she's going to remember that section's me. So it's okay. She's going to look at it and remember me fondly. Makes sense like you explained it, writing too. Yep. And the writing thing may make sense for left-handed people too. Um, because I know my dad's left-handed and he pulls, right? So he starts at the bottom and comes up. Well, okay. So my dad would, if he's writing an L, he's going to write this way, then up. He pulls instead. I push, he pulls. And so left-handed, it would make sense for him to start at the bottom. But I know plenty of right-handed people that stitch that way too. So I'm self-taught, tried the way the instructions show, but it just didn't feel right. Maybe it had to how we read. Autocorrect. Yeah. Also, I'm thinking I need to do a rearrange of the shed soon. This chair is a little too big for this area, so I'm constantly knocking things off the wall behind me. But I want y'all to see the wall behind me. If I face that way where it's more open, well, let me see. I want to see crazy messy shed. That wouldn't be any fun to look at. So, good morning, Tina. How are you? New thread. We are doing some daily 100 stitching this morning. Something's wrong. That's okay. It's okay. We're just going to leave it. I said I do that sometimes. Waking up. Folgers in your cup. Or Maxwell House. So I like the loop start, especially if I'm using 2 strands. Um, so starting from the top, I just start my stitch, go through the loop, and then go back in the hole I just came up. That will tuck my loop underneath and see, secure. I'm tugging on it. Don't know if you can tell. So it's one more way I never have to flip my project over. Or I showed, John was asking me last time, sometimes I use waste threads. So if I'm working on a full coverage and I'm only using 1 strand instead of 2, I will just start the strand over here, pull it around, and just leave a little tail that I can go back and either clip or pull to the bottom later on. I do not like to have to flip my projects unless it's absolutely necessary. I think it's one of the reasons I put my more trusted hand on the bottom. Um, more trusted. I'm right-handed, and I use my right hand on the bottom of project when I'm two-handed stitching, and I think it's because it's more intuitive. I can see what this one's doing and make it do the right thing. If I can't see it, I need it to be my trusted hand that I can trust will figure it out. But I can feel for knots, I can find the hole a little easier, things like that. I could probably stitch the other way if I needed to, but man, it would go slow. Anybody else got tips, tricks, do's, or don'ts? Got any don'ts that I probably do? I'm good at that one. Something about the way that I turn my needles. Okay, so I pull the thread through and then I do this number, right? Something about that pressure that I put on the head of the needle, I tend to snap my needles. I will say the full-size needles don't snap as easily as the petite needles always did. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I've been known to snap a few needles. Sometimes when you're using 2 strands on 28 over 1, it can get a little thick. It can get a little hard for the needle to be pushed through, but it also, I can't tell sometimes if that's 4 or 3. I think it's 3. This week I have been running my floss over a sponge before using it and it's helped with the knots big time. Very nice. I don't usually, like, thread length is a thing too. I don't work with as long a threads as some other people because I know I'll just get myself into a mess. And some people, they can pull their strand all the way out to here and never knot it up. I don't get it. It's just the way some people work. And the crossing, sometimes I'm like, did I already cross that one? Because it's just so tight. And like, I don't know what these little spaces were left for. I don't know. Um, but they are real little doing it this way. Someone in one of the Facebook groups recommended it. There you go. But I think had I normally on 28 count, I would use one strand over one, but I did want this to be kind of thick lines since we're not filling it in. This one will be my first one to wash grid lines out of, so that'll be interesting. Don't forget, everybody, we play a game here on every stream that you guess how many stitches we did while on stream today. I'm going to be streaming for about another hour and a half. But if you need to leave for any reason, you can leave your guess behind. Closest to what I stitch without going over will get entered into a raffle for a prize at the end of the month. We have one entry so far. That was Laurel, right? No, Holly. Holly is our first entry. Do you have a hoop size you prefer? I don't hoop. This is a Q snap and I use an okay, you have to morph them, right? I get an 8 by 8 and 11 by 11, and then I use the 8s on the sides and the 11 for the long piece. And so basically it makes two 8 by 11s. That's this size here. And I absolutely love it. I feel like it's not too big or too small. Um, Otherwise, I would probably do 11 by 11 because I feel like anything else is just not enough room to work with. On the Nerd, I think we like size 3. Is that right, Kate? I don't have one here. Let's see what I have the big one here. That yeah, it'd have to be a size 3 because this is a size 4 and it's huge. This isn't bad. Um, just not what I would keep in my bag. Um, so if you're gonna get a Nurge hoop, these are on Amazon. I recommend number 3 or getting a mix set and seeing what works best for you. Um, and it really also depends. I mean, are you doing a big project or a small project? Do you have extra fabric or are you like right up by what you're stitching? All right. Tina says, actually, Tina, I'm going to have you re-guess because um, I've already done 100 stitches. I'm going to do at least 100 on this one, and then we're going to work on a third project. So guess something over 200. Just saying. Saturdays, we do our daily 100s and then some other stitching. Oops, that's the wrong one. Yeah, I did that. Also have some Q snaps. Nurges are like I have a lot of Q snaps right now, so that's what the majority of what you'll see. I am starting to lean more towards Nurges. Um, but you know, you have to kind of build up your stock. So 360. Okay. I just didn't want you to feel cheated because you just got here. Aiming high. I appreciate that. I need some good stitching. Got caught up on Survivor last night. It had a fun twist at the um tribal tribal council. It was a lot of fun. I think I want to start watching Ink Masters soon. I've watched a season before and I really like it, so I might start it later. My favorite person got voted off of Great British Baking Show this week. Not voted, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of a bummer. What is your record for stitches in a day? This comes with a funny story. It's over 2,000. Like just over 2,000. I was playing in a stitchy game a few years ago and it was it was the Hunger Games, right? So all year long we would compete in these little games and two people would get selected to represent a district. And then at the end of the year, we played the Hunger Games, and it was all of us fighting against each other. Like you had to stitch to earn weapons or bandages, and then you um, threw it at another player, and they had to, like, if you attacked them, they had to stitch for bandages to heal themselves, things like that. It also had, like, other people in the group that didn't become one of the district people, they could send you stuff. It was a lot of fun. But I got hit with a chainsaw or something like that. Anyways, I needed to do 2,000 stitches in 24 hours. But it was a day that I really don't like the way this looks. Um, it was a day that I was at work. So I slept, you know, from the time I got hit till the time I left for work. And then I was able to stitch at work, but I'm only there for 12 hours. So in that 12 hours, I had to get over 2,000 stitches. I worked on Thine is the Trick and the Treat, like what Laurel's working on today. It's all one color, and I took very few breaks, and I was so sore by the end of the night from my back, just sitting there stitching all night long. But I got the 2,000 stitches in. Never again have I opted to try that hard for a game. And I ended up losing the next day for something stupid that I forgot to do. It was it was kind of funny. Typically, I average about 5 to 600 stitches a day. But I'm also fortunate that my job has a lot of downtime and I'm allowed to stitch at work. I actually get more stitches done at work than I do at home because at home I feel the need to be doing other things. I'm gonna have to start highlighting now. And I'm not in that block or that spot. We're getting close to 100 on this one. Goes pretty quickly on this, where you don't have to change colors or think about where am I gonna stitch next. Work with people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities and most days have some downtime. It's actually why I decided to try stitching. That's awesome. Whenever so I was a stay-at-home mom when I first started stitching or first started counted cross stitching. And when both of my kids were in school, my husband was working this security job and he was talking about how much Netflix he watched at night and how kind of slow it was. And I said, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You're telling me I could go and stitch and get paid while doing it? He's like, yeah, sign me up. And that was in 2016, so about 8 years ago. And I'm still doing that job because it allows me stitching time. Like, we got laid off at the beginning of this year, and I was terrified because I was like, I'm gonna have to get a job, like, where I can't stitch. But luckily, they called me back. Where's my bag? I need thread. Aw, the bobbin didn't get put back in here. Ah, go. More thread. I have a bobbin of just black. Um, no, I don't have one around here. But, oh, here. I have one of these, and I just wound up several strands of black from my cone onto it. And then I stuck it in this project since all this project needs is black. But apparently it fell out of the bag, so now I gotta go find it. Sometimes I do have to decide, are we going down? Or are we going across? Three. Getting towards the end of the year here where it's all about wrapping up those goals that you've made for yourself and maybe do some finishing so you start out the new year with as clean a slate as you can. I mean, so many of us have a lot of whips, that's kind of hard to do, but all right. So that is daily 100 on this one. I will say because we're not working in blocks, this one does have more than 100 stitches on it, but I'm not saying how many more. Okay, the next project we're going to work on, I'm probably going to have to go get. Let's look at the wheel and see what that is. All right. So this is that wheel of names I was telling you about. We need, this is not the right one, so I'm going to open. What's next? So here's what it looks like. And this is where I was telling you, like, this is just in Safari on my iPad. You can like copy and paste everything over here instead of having to write it all out. I obviously did not do that and wrote the wrong thing. You also can just add and delete, however. Okay, I already deleted Living with Charm off of here because I finished it yesterday. That was my split into 12 to have it finished by December. I was able to knock it out yesterday. So we're going to spin it. Now, when I spin it, it's going to give me the option to remove it from the list. I'm not going to do that because sometimes I do have to take more than one day to complete these. And like, let's say I don't complete whatever gets spun today. I don't necessarily work on it tomorrow. I'll spin again. So that's why it stays on the wheel. Okay, it's going to go with category 3, which was least amount stitched. This is one of my new starts from the 29th wordplay. So I'm going to go grab that. It's in the house, and I will be back with you in just a moment. I'm going to just be right back. Thank you, Kate. I'm back. And we are switching to February wordplay from With Thy Needle and Thread. I had to have looked really funny. Blah, 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 blah. All right. What my chart. I just started this one on October 29th. When I do a new start, I put at least 100 stitches in it. So this one, my Mill Hill and my year of celebrations all got 100 stitches on the 29th. So any one of those was my least amount stitched. So I picked this one. Just because of the three, it's the biggest. So I don't know. I had some sort of logic there. Also, I'm probably going to have to pull threads while I work on this one. So at least I'm sitting in front of a floss wall. Where's my... Well... Floss cards in here. So we're going to pull bobbins of threads we need, and then I'll keep it with it until I can find the floss card. That's the plan. So the next color, okay, the other thing about this chart is that it is charted in gassed, I think. Oops, all gassed. So I'm going to need to convert. Scan. So this is going to take extra time, but it's okay. So the first symbol we need is a downward triangle. That is endive. So I'm going to go over to Safari and do the gassed to DMC conversion. Can't open the page. Don't be mean. Okay, here we go. And endive is 3011. So we're going to work with this color. Pretty sure I need to pull it for the floss card anyway. I'm going to put this in here so I don't forget that so we need to put it on a floss card. I have a floss card. I don't know where it went. Sometimes when I'm leaving work and I'm having to quickly pack things up, sometimes one thing will get in a different thing's bag. Does that make sense? Okay. That's not what I wanted to do. This is a 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed myself. And this one we're just going to stitch until about 12 o'clock. So however many stitches we get in it is however many stitches we get. I do need pictures every 100 stitches, so I am going to have to kind of keep a count on what we're doing here. That reminds me. Before I do this, I need to do. I'm playing a game right now where you have to have a number on it every day to prove that you didn't stitch before you were supposed to. I think it's kind of ridiculous personally, but and honestly, I think it may be my last time playing because I don't really like this, having to put a number on there every day. But I am in the middle of something right now and don't want it to not count. Because I'm probably going to be stitching on this for 500 stitches today because that's my goal on any of my category pieces. Fabric is very fragrant. I may not drink coffee, but I like the smell of it. Been trying to think of some more categories for Whippagories next year. I'm kind of drawing a blank. They need to be kind of broad because my whole thing with the categories is I don't like being told what to stitch on. Typically, apparently I let games choose otherwise. But anyway, um I feel like having a pretty broad category such as pattern type PDF. That's probably a good chunk of my whips. I could pick from anything. Flora and fauna. Most things have a flower or an animal on them. Not everything, but pretty broad. I'd like to add some more for next year because I like to change it up, but I'm just coming up with nothing. So if y'all have any suggestions, if you looked at your whips and you were to throw them in categories, what categories would be on your list? How would you classify a whip? Size, obviously. We always have the sizes. Full coverage. Oldest and newest. New one I added this year was geometric. That one's pretty fun for me. project with no black. Ooh, I like that one. I'm writing that down. Where's my notes? I like that one because it's so hard to find a project without black, right? No black. But you don't have very many of those either, do you, Kate? We do have monochromatic, which is basically just all of one color, whatever. Stitch the current or opposite season. Okay, we do have a seasonal. That's a little more specific though, where you have to either match the season or opposite. Okay, I'm gonna write that down because I think I can make that work. Maybe even swap it out for the seasonal just to make something a little bit new. My Carolyn Manning. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. My Carolyn Manning doesn't either. Good morning, Kelly. On my whipboard, I do categories, and one of mine is for someone else. Yeah, where somebody else picks it. Current opposite. Vic would classify mine as Project Laurel hates stitching on. Your whip list needs a total revamp at this point, Laurel. I think you need to take like 80% of your whip list, set it to the side, and give yourself some new material. Because you do seem to struggle with the stuff that you're working on. Or the project is for somebody else. Okay. Like a gift project. I have a couple of those. I have one I really been meaning to start too. That's one of the reasons. Okay, I had Kate laughing at me last night. Struggle Bus is Lowell's favorite. um, I had Kate laughing at me last night because I was talking about, separating out the duplicates where I have like 4 things by Mirabilia. I would only keep one active and put 3 away. Well, that leaves 3 slots open for new starts. She's like, if you're trying to get under 30, why would you still have slots for new starts? And here's the thing, there's some stuff I really need to get started. Brain. Because then the other mirrors will come back in the hole of the mirror that I finish. So it's almost like assigning each slot its own designer. Which may get a little difficult if I come across some new designers, but okay, we need to change this to wordplay today. Do struggle with some of them. Some have gotten resolved, 2 are about to get finished. Yay! I like that word from you. Finished. Again, mostly because I feel like your whip list needs a revamp to where you love stitching again, because sometimes it seems like stitching is more of a chore for you than something you actually enjoy. I just realized my camera's not working. I was like, why is it showing that on there? I don't have that. Good morning, handsome. Huh? I don't know why. Okay. My slots for next year are assigned to a start year. Oh, that's interesting. What do you do with a project when a season ends and you start a new show? Um, with the two, okay, so the two shows that I'm doing the stitching games on, this is literally the first time. So I don't have a good answer for you there, but I mean, they would just get stitched on at normal intervals, or the next show, I would reassign those whips. Because like when Big Brother started, I assigned, I think there was 9 people, each a whip. Well, I have 40 something whips, so I'm still going to work on the other things too. And then when Great British Bake Off came on, I did not duplicate. So I had a whole new set of whips for that section. And I thought about a couple of the people that had gotten evicted going over to the Great British Bake Off one, but then there were other things that needed to be worked on, so it's okay. Where would you find things? Animals in the woods, bugs in a garden? So, like, the category would be where you find things? I do think I need one for like buildings or houses. People like stitching on houses. I feel like I missed something. Check is for someone else. Roofs, borders. Hmm. Whip with words. I think I have words on my list. Has words. Thought about adding alphabets, but we do have samplers on there. And almost all samplers have alphabets. Oh, new what? New formats. Mhm. So are you doing an update? When you learn, I forgot you. Gotcha. Whip with water. Now, does the water have to be on there or can it be implied? Because mermaids are underwater, but the water isn't always stitched. Has to be on the project. Woo. I need to rearrange because this isn't a very big area for my chair. and it's constantly rolling back into stuff on the wall.
That's what
Hmm.
I go like that 100 times. What I would do is just try wrapping my legs around the pole,
That's what I have too.
and then hopefully, and it'll still slide back, but you have to like do it. I was trying to watch SWAT while being up against the desk, and then chair kept flying back. I'm like, I'm so about to go fly through this.
It's not a big deal except when I'm constantly knocking stuff off the wall.
Why is this so curved?
I don't know. It's just how it's made. Or probably the fact that they didn't figure out if the land was level before they put it here, you know? In this thread, we need a new color. What bit tells time? A date, a year, numbers, a clock. What project? It's called Valentine. It's called February Wordplay. Yeah, and it just has a bunch of different things that represent February. Ryan's birthday. I should put that on there. So it says Valentine, chocolates, roses, be mine, hearts, Cupid, sweetheart. It's got keys, a
It
bird.
feels like that's all just going towards the one thing.
I mean, it is the most popular day in February. You happen to be born the very next day.
That'd be weird being born in Valentine, too.
You were close. I was having contractions all of Valentine's Day, but I had an appointment the next morning, so I just dealt with it. And when I got to the doctor's office, he goes, or we can go to the hospital, you're in labor.
Ow!
Bless you. Nobody. All right. I know. That's why I said, "Ugh." Okay, next is an hourglass. Hourglass is walnut. So let's go see what color walnut is. 37.90. Do not. What you started during your floss tube anniversary month? That's a unique one, but not everybody floss tubes. Okay, can you do me a quick favor? Bring my floss box out here. It's on the couch. Birthday starts. So, like, if I pulled the category birthday starts, then you could only work on something that has a birthday that month. That's an interesting idea. No, something you started on your birthday. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I have a few of those. Good morning, Lynn. You are not too late to the party. We have about another hour that we're here. If you started because someone else was stitching it. Um, don't we all start because maybe? Yeah.
Well, Jack, that man's apparently wasn't closed, but when I walked outside, it opened.
Oh no. We're my goodness, how much have I said? I was muted. Ryan, oh, Lynn, I said absolutely. Just let me when I get picked next year, make sure you send me a whip list so I know what I can choose from. Um, Ryan came in here and the way he said mama, I thought he was going to tell me something y'all didn't need to hear. But what happened was I did not click my floss box closed last night. And when he walked out of the house with it, it came flying open and a bunch of the flosses fell out. So he collected them all and brought them to me. But yeah, he was like, I'm so sorry. It's like, that is completely and 100% my fault. I've really enjoyed doing I actually stuck with my whip go board better this year because all of my squares were somebody choosing the project for me. And and then what I would do is I would send them like a before and after picture. So like they could see what they chose and how it helped me. Um actually started working on my mom's whip go call for November last night. I got 300 out of the 500 stitches in it that I needed. Enjoyed the accountability. Yeah, that's me too. Like outside of my daily 100, if I'm not messaging somebody or posting in a group or whatever, then I tend to slack off and not do it. Do you do 500 for every square and do you work on it after you hit your number? Um, yes and no. I Yes, it's for 500. Now, if I'm stitching and need to stitch a little more on it, I don't make myself stop at 500, but once I'm at 500, I'm like, okay, I don't have to work on it anymore. Um, Typically, unless there's another reason for me to work on it that month, I don't hit it or I don't work on it again. But that's not to say I won't work on it the rest of the year. It'll come up for something else. All of my stuff is in multiple places so that I don't ever want to be like, okay, I'm not going to work on this anymore, period. Now, once I hit my yearly goal, it is less likely to come out for something like that. But even then, it's um, if it fits a category, if I can put it in a game, I like for my stitches to come out as much as possible. But for that month, yeah, I may be like, okay, we're not going to see this anymore this month. Hopefully, it comes out on something next month. I will. I have 40 projects kitted up, so I will spin the wheel and give you the choice of 10. My squares are general, like stitch on a piece with a flower. That way I have choices. Works for one piece. That works. And I think things like WipGo, like even if you start them at the beginning of the year and you find that it doesn't work for you and you stop doing it, that's okay. You found one more thing that doesn't help. And it's one thing you can mark off and then try something new for here because this is where I'm stitching. Finding out something doesn't work only helps you to get to finding that thing that does. And your taste change too. A few years ago, all the games I was playing, all of them were prompt based. You know, stitch on something with a flower in it, stitch on something with a girl, stitch on something that has multiple people. And I loved it at the time. Now, those feel too restrictive to me. Or like you really have to plan for it, right? Um, so I have to go through and look at all my whip pictures and now, not to say I would be completely opposed to doing it again, but I don't enjoy it as much as I did at the time. I like the more broad categories. I'm just Do you ever just get into a flow and keep working on it? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, okay, before the games became a thing, right? Because right now I've got the Big Brother and the Great British, and whenever I complete, let's say, 200 stitches to evict somebody, it's 500. But anyway, I finish that, I spin the wheel, I work on the next thing. Typically, I wouldn't have done that. I would have spun the wheel and it picked this, and this is what I would work on for the entirety of the day. And then we'd get a new spin tomorrow. The only reason I'm not doing that right now is because I'm so behind on those two game shows that I'm doing. But if it weren't for those, yeah, I do my daily 100, I spin, I pick a whip, or pick a whip for however, whether I spin or just go, ooh, that's what I want to work on today. And stitch on it for the entirety of the day. So even if it was for categories, it may have gotten 800 stitches, even though my goal was 500. I'm very lenient on myself. I don't make hard and fast rules. It's a big birthday for me in 2025, so I want to celebrate big with all the starts. Very nice. I just got lost in a thought there. Sorry about that. I do that sometimes. At the end of my most recent floss tube, if you watch past the screen that says thank you for subscribing, blah, 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 I put in a couple bloopers where I started to record and my brain just like just took off and I was sitting there, huh? And I had to stop recording and start recording all over again. But I thought it was kind of funny. So I did put them at the end, like a blooper reel, basically. I'm not big on editing, so it doesn't like have all the neat cuts or big words that say blooper. It's especially bad, like on Monday. Did I start a new floss tube already and give my intro or not? Hold on. Let me restart. You'll also notice on my daily 100s, when I get kind of close to the finish, I'll be like, okay, today we're just going to go ahead and finish it. And it may only be my 100 stitches for the day. It may be 300 because delusional counting, but I will be like, nope, we're finishing it today. I was really tempted to do that with Fox this last week because I'm so close, but I do know it has a couple more prompts on my checklist. So I'm gonna give it those before we just go, let's just finish it. Also, I'm very neurotic. I'm very disciplined in my wanting to have things available for Finish That Stitch December. So I have been known to leave a project with 1 or 5 stitches left in it and not stitch on it again until December so that I can have as many possible finishes in the last month of the year. That's not really what Finish That Stitch was intended for, but it made me happy anyway. and irritated some of my friends, which was fun too. See, I started off going down so that we know where our edge is over here, but I'm not going to be able to finish all the way because this Q-snap's a little bit too small to encompass the entire project. So we'll start moving over that way after I put these stitches on. Makes Jessie completely crazy, yeah. It's kind of fun. Jessie, who got so close to a finish on Personal Sunshine, she just had to push through 10,000 stitches in a month. My 2 stitches probably drove her insane. Disconnected again. Actually heard it that time. Will you be in Yellow Springs next weekend? No, I did not sign up this year. With being laid off in February, I didn't make any travel arrangements this year. So nope. And with the cost of it going up, yeah. Funny story from this morning. Coffee is my big thing in the morning. I left my stitching chair and came back to my dog sitting there drinking my coffee. I wish I had my camera. Oh my goodness, that's funny. I totally just pictured a dog like sitting back with the cup. I know that's not how the dog was drinking, but I could just picture him like sitting back with your coffee, like, you snooze, you lose. We'll miss you too. I really enjoy that one. I really want to go, but financially it wasn't feasible this year. Oh, I don't know why I did that. We need to move over. Who's here? What's our next color? Which I know I needed to pull more of anyway. Heirloom gold. Anyway, decking out. See you soon. Have a good day, Tina. Heirloom gold. What row is that on? 829. Pretty sure I already pulled more of this one, but since we can't find our floss card, but that means it may not be in here. Look, found my floss card. It was in my floss box. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Oh, he looked at me. You snooze, you lose. 829. Gotta do our neat little trick with the scissors again. Nifty. This bobbin's almost out. So we'll just use the last of it. And Tina has her guess in. If anybody else would like to put a guess in, please guess over 200, as I did 100 on Mini Phantom of the Masquerade, and I did 100 plus on QS Ladybugs. And then we've been stitching on this one for a little while. We did all of this, and we're going to be stitching on it for about 30 more minutes. So we're trying to guess the total stitch count for the day. If you are the closest without going over, you will be entered into a drawing for a raffle I'll have at the end of the month. If you guess the exact number of stitches, you get 2 entries. $4.65. There's no Holly here counting my stitches this morning. Betty says 333. And yours went out in the mail yesterday, Laurel. Laurel was the winner of last month's giveaway. She got a Just Cross Stitch magazine, the Christmas ornament edition, and one of those canvas printed cross stitch things that are kind of popular right now. And it was a, I still can't think of the word. It's a shirt worn. Oh my goodness. It's oriental in nature. Can't think of the name. They got the high collars and the buttons. This is 28 count merino. Merino? I think that's what it's called. I bought it at Hobby Lobby, or I bought it at Michael's. It comes in a square plastic thing, and it's all rolled up, and then I coffee tea dyed it. Good morning, kimono. Yes, that thing. It's a Well, it's like a kimono shirt, not the whole like a dress, but yeah, the shirt. Thank you. Good morning, Heather. Welcome in. How is baby boy doing post Halloween? Kimono, yeah, that. So the stitching is of a kimono, which, funnily enough, out of any of my friends that might stitch it, You might actually, because you had my that you stitched at one point. He's good. Good. Tell you. This particular fabric is very stiff, and surprisingly, my needle does not like finding the holes on it. Could you imagine if I misspelled? Yeah, I had my, and I have another kimono whip. That's right. That's right. I remember that. Well, this one's a male one. The one you have is female, right? So maybe you can have a set. Or you can pass it along. It's completely up to you. It got it out of my house. Thomas is gracing me with Christmas music on his piano. Oh, that's awesome. Is he one of those it's Christmas the day after Halloween? You get a whole 2 months of Christmas? How long did it take for you to get the hang of two-handed stitching? Not very long, because the motion of having to do this when you poke and stab, wore out my arm very quickly. So even before I had a stand, I would like prop it against myself and kind of do this number where the hands would trade out which one held. So like if this one has the needle, this one's holding the project, I would push the needle through, grab the side of the Q snap, pull the needle, put it back up, so they were all alternating. But a stand makes it so much easier. I took down all of the indoor Halloween yesterday, and we're doing outside stuff this weekend. Awesome. Christmas music since July or August. Oh, he likes Christmas music. And the Japanese octagon box chatelaine. Yeah, you like that stuff, Laurel. Worked out. Oh, I did something wrong here. I like to have a couple options when it comes to the raffle because everyone likes, especially because it's not like, hey, enter this raffle for said thing. So you're not going the whole month going, I hope I win that. I hope I win that. You're going, well, I'm randomly entering into something I don't know. So I might not like it. Well, that's why I give options, typically, or sometimes. If I'm not going to give an option, you're going to know about it all month. So I would say, put your guesses in for this fabric of the month I decided I didn't want. Whatever it is. My fault though, because I put fresh batteries in his keyboard yesterday. Does it have some I don't have very good connection right now. Does it have like pre-recorded music on it or he's just playing it himself? We're coming to the end of this thread. My phone. Hubby bought baby boy a drum set. Luckily, it doesn't drive me nuts. I think I could handle drums as long as it's not too repetitive. I'm not sure how I'd handle cymbals, like or the top hat, whatever it's called. I don't wanna. Okay, next. Oh, cymbals too. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Both, mostly pre-recorded. He loves the keyboard and probably has 6 or 7, but only 2 at a time with batteries. Gotcha. For this, it's gonna be a minute. I just got it started. Welcome in, Amanda. Oops. Oh my goodness. There's an episode of I Love Lucy where they bought little Ricky a drum set, drove them all crazy. Good morning, Lori. How are you this morning? Um, what was it? I think my brother-in-law, he bought my daughter either a recorder or a harmonica, something that you blow into that makes loud noises. And so yeah, it was like a war for a few years where I would buy his kid something noisy, then he'd buy my kid something noisy. Maybe I was the one that bought the harmonica. That kind of sounds like me. No recorders in my house, right? Yeah. I want to say Lexi got the recorder, so I bought his son a harmonica. This went on for a little while. Different toys that made maracas. I think maracas got bought at one point. A drum set definitely got bought at one point. It was it was a thing when they were little. Luckily, my sister has 9 kids, so if she tries that with me, she literally gets it back tenfold. I got a brother-in-law with 9 kids, or 10 kids. My brother-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws has 10, one has 4, and the other one has 1. My sister has 3. So, lots of nieces and nephews. I think the oldest is like 24 and the youngest is 5, maybe. Oh, we are the one who buys Thomas all the noisier toys. Rule is he is only his room he can play with them. There used to be a store here called the Noisy Toy Store. I was like, that's a store for grandparents to shop at. Mostly evil aunts and uncles. Like, I told Rita, I was like, you buy it, it stays at your house. um, when we were living in an apartment behind my in-laws' house at one point when the kids were little. And my mother-in-law's a big coffee drinker. She drinks her coffee super sugared up or, with cream and sugar, and it looks basically kind of like hot chocolate. And the kids used to always want to sip some of Nana's coffee. And I'm like, that's fine, but there has to be like a cutoff time, right? And but she drinks coffee all day long. So there was one night, um, Lexi had some of Nana's coffee, and then we were trying to put her to bed, and she'd be in her playpen, and we'd get her nice and asleep. And then 2 minutes later, she's literally jumping up and down in the playpen, like so much energy. And this happened all night long, like alternating between completely asleep and wide awake in the blink of an eye. And I told my mother-in-law, I'm like, no more coffee. She's like, oh, but the kids like it. I'm like, if you give her coffee before bed, she sleeps with you. That's it. Before lunchtime, you want to let them have a little sip. Okay, fine. But oh my goodness, jumping off the walls. I was kind of a stickler about you can only have a sip or two, but my sister-in-law was not. And so my nieces and nephews, whenever my mother-in-law would turn her head, all of a sudden her coffee was gone. They would run over and just, as fast as they could, the entire cup. Like, nope. Having some of those drop frames again this morning. I don't know if there's much of a delay going on, but just wanted to give you a heads up. Also, that we have 15 more minutes if you want to get your guesses in for how many stitches we have completed while on air today. The closest without going over will get into the raffle. Please make a guess over 200 because we did 100 on Phantom. We did 100 plus on QS Ladybugs, and then we've been working on this for over an hour. So, Kate says 442 and John says 370. Kelly says 405. And Heather says 450. Haley says, oh, things in May. Hold on. 400. All this talk of coffee is making me thirsty. It's always a good idea to hydrate. I think I finished. Nope, I got a little bit more water here. I my Saturday sips are usually water, sometimes Diet Dr. Pepper. I really need to get some spiced tea made for once it's cold. Laurel says 3.75. What is the date this week? I'm trying to see if I have any plans going on this week or if we're back to our normal schedules. Okay. I will be available this Thursday and Saturday. Uh, did we like the afternoon better than the evening for Thursdays? Saturday will still be Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Did you see they're coming out with a blackberry Dr. Pepper? I did not. That might actually be pretty good. The following weekend, I won't be able to do our Saturday stream because I have to go to look at colleges with my baby. Let's not talk about it. Um, but yeah. So next, I don't remember what time we're supposed to be there, but we've signed up to go look at one of the local colleges. So almost finished the word Valentine. I'm gonna run out of floss though. Come on. I did eat breakfast before I came out this morning, and still I'm like, it'll be lunch when I get in the house. Ready for that. I made some teriyaki burgers last night. They were really good. Are we gonna start having a lunch discussion? Make everybody hungry so that you have to go eat after this? Da, 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 da. I really need to figure out how to get the music on here. I have to be careful because, like, on YouTube, you can't have certain music or else I can't monetize. Um, so I gotta be careful, but I want to have some sort of noise for when I am not talking. Doesn't happen very often, but I do go quiet sometimes. You're already hungry? Did you have breakfast, Laurel? Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It gets your metabolism going. Of course, probably not if you eat it and then turn around and stay sitting in a chair, but I like to think that it still makes my metabolism move. That's what the dietitian said. Eat breakfast, it gets your metabolism going. Of course, she was also talking about my son who immediately goes to school and has athletics and stuff. So there's that. Nope, just coffee. I feel like coffee and ice cream. I know this is going to sound really funny, but ice cream are like stomach emptiers. And I know they're palate cleansers, right? They tell you to eat a little bit of ice cream in between taste testing food to cleanse your palate. But like for whatever reason, I could be completely full for dinner from dinner, have some ice cream and feel hungry again. And so I feel like coffee and ice cream are both palate cleansers. Have you ever done virtual retreats? What are your thoughts? Um, Not exactly. I haven't. Kate would be a good one to ask about that. Um, you did Frogwarts this year, right? I've been to the Jingle Ball, which isn't exactly a retreat, but kinda, right? But I haven't actually participated in any chats. I just watched the designers talk about their stuff. Um, but I run a group on Facebook called Virtual Stitchers, and we have a Zoom room where people will get on and basically do this, but everybody can talk instead of having to type. So that's kind of the closest I get to a virtual retreat. Kate made Frogwort sound like a lot of fun this year. It's very tempting to check that out. I think it depends on what you want to get out of a retreat as to whether or not a virtual retreat will satisfy. Um, my favorite thing about retreat is sitting around having laughs with all my friends while getting some stitches in. So virtual retreats would work fine for me. If it's about shopping, um, I mean, still possible, but probably not quite as fun. I do happen to really like going out to eat with my friends at retreat, so there's that. Yes, anyone can join Virtual Stitchers. I will tell you that it's most busy on a Friday night. It's kind of hit or miss the rest of the week, but you're more than welcome to join us. I Zoom with several YouTube channel owners. It's like a retreat. We sew or stitch and share our projects or ideas. It's fun. Yeah. Do you have a group for that, Lori, or is it like a scheduled thing? Caesar's got hidden. Yeah, like this week I was on Zoom in the evening time, like 7 to 11 p.m. Or maybe it was closer to 9. Anyway, Central Time. Um, Everybody there is really friendly. They're gonna say hi to you, probably ask you what you're stitching on or where you live, and then kind of let you get acquainted while they continue whatever chat they were having right before you made it in the room. We encourage participation, but we don't ever want to make anybody uncomfortable. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. We do ask that um, you try to have your camera and stuff on unless there's some reason you can't and you can talk to us about it. But we've had some issues with creepers. But it so when you join virtual stitchers, you'll message one of the admin for the password. And there's a file on there that tells you like how to connect to Zoom and all the rules. It's really important to read the rules before you join anything. The rules aren't hard. Be nice to people. Don't be naked. Things like that. You, and rules are made because something happened, right? It's through a membership on a channel. Oh, okay. But we all talk as friends outside of it. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. I did memberships for a little bit. Um, I want to get back to it, but I'm worried about having enough time to come up with content. I closed it down because somebody started following me that I had issues with. I don't know how to. Basically, my members only channel was kind of where I could vent about personal life, and I didn't want this person knowing about my personal life, so I had to shut it down before I realized I could just block said person. But no, okay, I gotta count. I don't like counting. Okay, I did it. Think I would like virtual stitchers? I would think so. It's a good place to be, I think. We used to be a lot more busy than we are because other people have made Zoom groups, and some of the people that used to visit us regularly went to the other places. But that's okay. Like last night, I think we got up to what, like 9 people were on at one point. Friday night's kind of a revolving door. And any other time, you can post in the group and be like, hey, I'm available, and see if somebody wants to pop in. Like I said, it's not as popular in the middle of the day, but it used to be once upon a time, there was always somebody in the Zoom rooms. In fact, we had to have more than one, and now we're back down to only having one. I just joined the group. I will have to check it out. Sounds good. Most crafters don't have friends that do the same. Virtual time is my connection to fellow hobbyists, not to mention all the rabbit holes. Exactly. And John, we have several male stitchers on virtual. Like last night, we had at least 4 of them on all at the same time. Oh, it is afternoon. I didn't hear the alarm go off. Our town sets off an alarm every day at noon. Okay, I'm going to end there, and we will see how many stitches we did. All right, so this is February wordplay. We did all of this half of the word Valentine, and we were starting on chocolates. Am I gonna have food or am I gonna have a nap? Who knows? All right, so we got 100 stitches for Phantom, 107 on QS Ladybugs, and 165 for February's wordplay. So that's 372 stitches today. Thanks for coming, Haley. Thank you. 254. Okay. So at 172, our closest is John at 370. So John, you have an entry into the raffle this month. So 11-2 is John. All right. So we got all of that done. Yes, so did we decide if 2 o'clock works better for us on Thursdays or 8 o'clock? I could really do either one. Put this on here real quick. This was triangles. The drawing will be somewhere at the end of the month. What is this for? Hourglass. I don't know. Here. All right. We had pretty good participation at 2 o'clock this week, so we're gonna keep it at 2 o'clock for next week for the kit and stitch. We'll see. We'll see at that point what we think, and then Friday or Saturday morning, of course, 9 a.m. for the sip and stitch or Saturday sips. We'll be here. So, thank you everybody for joining me. I'm really enjoying this. Oh, and Monday, of course, my floss tube will be up, so you can always visit me there on YouTube. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I will eat better 2 is during lunch. Okay. I will take that into consideration and I'll do 8 the following week. So, interview days, Thursday. Gotcha. All right. I will see y'all later this week.